quite able to pull back Photon. Sjokz coming up though, Photon now gonna be in trouble, tries to get the kill back, kills in and gets the first blood.
Lane to top side, I think.
Look, Viego, look, Viego.
No flash.
There you go.
I'm getting zone, guys.
Viego,
Okay, okay.
No flash, no flash.
No flash, no zone, yeah. I'm tipping him.
Nice.
For a little bit too long, they want to find the reset on the Hillsang, and they get it. Vitality are falling apart, lands to the slaughter as BDS tear through them one more time.
And welcome back to the Marriott Bonvoy post-game check-in with Adam this time around. Félicitations. Congratulations on winning the first game. Rusty much, I think, is the terms we can use.
Yeah, like, you know, even the game on top on Sheo, you know, like, Photon he was dead 100%, but I went ego mode a bit, and I died, that's unfortunate. Yeah. But yeah, it's a bit rusty, like we gave Nash for free. I think the feeling was a bit weird as well, because it's a long time we haven't been like on stage. So we need to get used to it again.
Yeah, getting back to your groove and getting back to the stage again. I want to bring back some memories. I'm sorry, it's going to be sad ones, but even though you made it far last split, it stopped in a fashion that sadly you're starting to know a bit too much, Adam. And I do believe that ahead of today you said, we're back, we're ready, we're still missing one thing, which is a split victory, I can assume. But how do you guys stay positive? How do you come back? What is the work that goes backstage for you guys to not be impacted too much by getting reverse swept a couple times?
Well, actually last year we got reverse swept by MDK for MSI spot. This year was the same. Actually, we thought that it could never happen again in the same circumstances, but apparently it didn't, right? I mean, it did happen, so we just try to learn from our mistakes all the time, and I do believe that in those type of moments, it's the mental who's more, you know, taking advantage of you than anything else.
Yeah.
So we're trying to work actively on how we handle the pressure, especially in high-stakes game like this, and we're trying to do our best.
Of course, we can trust you guys to do so, given the synergy and everything that has been working for BDS. Looking at the draft quickly here, a lot of bans on your side, but that's the usual, but a lot of bans on the enemy team's side. What does it say about top lane?
I mean, the thing is, like every time I play against Mac and Pat, and you can go back to my time in Fnatic, like they were the coach of Mad Lions when in LEC final in summer, and they were always banning me as well. Same for last year against Mad Lions against final, they were always banning me, and this is always the strategy that they go for when they play against me. So I had to answer back with 5 top bans. So sorry, Photon, but.
That's how it goes. You ban on the other side. I don't thank you so much for the interview. Best of luck in the next game, of course. And Sjokz, over to you for the next game.
Thank you very much. We've got G2 up versus MDK, which is, of course, a rematch of the Winter Finals. But for MDK, whilst... Are you going to sit like this the whole segment?
It gives me comfort a little bit, you know.
It's adorable. I love it. No, you can stay.
Really?
Don't leave. Don't leave. Don't go.
Yeah. I will stay right here.
Lovely. Talk to me about MDK. And I'm going to say something just to get the conversation going. Spanish fans, it's just a tool to get them to discuss. Has MDK's ceiling this year come and gone?
Do you want to take this one?
You take it.
Okay, so I think yes. And I think you mentioned a point about honeymooning, but I think the meta, it doesn't really fit them. I liked Fresskowy on more facilitative picks, and I feel like right now what the meta is going to trend towards is more AD mid laners with AP junglers. Now Elyoya loves his brand, and I think Ivan, and that might be a good point that they have to work with, but I'm worried about Fresskowy. In that case, see you later, mate.
Yeah, this is enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at MDK, in all fairness, right, with a lot of young players, you have to give them more time than a couple of months. I always look at projects like this in terms of 2 years. They often don't get it, though. And now the task is getting to season finals, getting to top 3, getting to Worlds.
Yeah, for me, to piggyback on what Eragon said, I think it's interesting because when we saw them at their peak in the Winter Finals, we heard from them a lot where they would say, we would ask them, hey, what's your tactic, you know, or how do you feel like you should play this game? And they're like, we're just kind of going with the flow, you know? And going with the flow always works when you are winning. But the thing is, they've been kind of knocked off their high horse so much, where now I'm like, can you go with the flow again now that you don't have the confidence that you want?
Yeah, we'll see indeed as we take a look at who always goes with the flow and are winning. G2, they announced the renewal of the contract of Broken Blade, and I think that's a great chance for us to talk a little bit about Broken Blade. I think internationally, he's made leaps and bounds, and in Europe, he also was, I think many people would say, the best top in the league, and I would agree. Of course, we have Photon as well, who's been doing well, but you know, he doesn't have a lot of competition here, it seems.
I think he's just fantastic individually now, right? I mean, there was this one player MSI that I keep remembering, and that's his Yasuo played topside versus Zeus, of all people, where he flash predicts with the EQ Beyblade kind of combo, and it was really, really cool. I don't know if you remember that play, but just individually, it feels like the solo laners for G2 have stepped up, and they're no longer an issue like they were in the past.
Yeah, and it's not so much about his, you know, his level of play in-game. I feel like the thing that elevated G2 to a completely new level this year has been the fact that he's constantly revolutionizing the meta around him. He's been kind of the backbone of G2 in winter and spring, with the fact that it was just almost impossible to draft against G2 just because they would be like, there's these champions that are popping out of nowhere, Zac, TF, but they can be flexed everywhere. So it's like, all of a sudden, you're playing red side against G2, but your last pick is not really a counter pick anymore, just because BB is just cracking up all of these brand new picks left and right.
Yeah, it had a huge influence on the roster, and G2 has been doing phenomenally. In Europe, they are second to none, but MDK, they could play spoiler and maybe give us an upset on day one. Let's head over to our casters.
Certainly incredible start to the season if you kick off with an upset over G2. G2 had a pretty fantastic MSI run, but a tall task as well. Pretty brutal schedule.
Yeah. Only coming back after a couple of weeks and now being launched into the LEC may make it a bit tough for G2, but honestly, it hasn't looked massively different. There's one or two new champions like Corkster and stuff coming back in a different role, but outside of that, it's kind of been
Excuse me, who?
The Corkster. The Corkster.
Yeah. Okay, it's canonical. That's his name, the Corkster. Yeah, the Corkster didn't do so good in the late game now that he's lost his little AP scaling. Much more early to mid game.
Yeah, you'd think the true damage would kind of help, but
nah. When you used to have like a gajillion range rocket that could half health enemy squishies, it was a little easier probably, but 80 carry bans, the story thus far, the Kalista, the Draven, comfort for the side of G2. So the more things change, the more they stay the same. Skarner, though, after years of not being picked in pro play, will remain unpicked in pro play because he is permanently banned. So
he is very, very strong.
The more things change, the more they, stay
it's also he's just so flexible. Like, it's top lane, you can play him jungle, you can put in support. Like, there's just so much that he can work with. And even if you want to go, like, I can go Arcane Combat, I can go for another guy. Like, there's just, there's so many.
That's a Yasuo ban.
Huh. I mean, AP junglers are strong. I just thought it would have been a Tristana instead of a Yasuo.
I agree, but Tristana doesn't exist in LEC. Don't know why, but it just doesn't. So, final ban here for G2. A lot of stuff left on the table. A lot of power picks. Hwei will be the final ban. Now I ask, what are they setting up here with these three particular bans? Is there something in the bot lane that they really want to cook, or are they just done their research, done their preparation? And the answer of what they wanted to cook was Twisted Fate, and that is why we saw the Yasuo ban.
Is still a very strong top laner, and obviously BB has been the main proponents in playing the Yasuo on the top side of the map is the answer, but has been flexed a little bit into the mid lane in the LPL. I think we've seen it maybe once, but I imagine that is going to be top lane for Myrwn, trying to succeed in getting him a strong matchup. But you could just go for something like the Tristana mid here for caps if you wanted to, but with a lot of AD carry bans, is it just going to be Hans Sama going back towards the Varus?
And what is the Varus build going to be? Lethality, again, still remains pretty popular.
At least in a solo queue history, it has been on hit for Hans Sama, but the lethality kind of more I've seen on the Eastern AD carries and a lot more on hit on Western AD carries. So we'll have to wait and see. Competitive could change that.
I'm a big fan of on hit. Of course, I think of the two, much harder to play, but has a very high ceiling in terms of the damage output it can provide. G2 debating what they want to do here. Ooh, Camille coming in. And here's the thing, based on that smile on the face of Dylan Falco, I have a sneaking suspicion that might still be a flexi, despite all of the nerfs that have come through for Camille's support. Could be wrong, however.
Yeah, she got nerfed, the item, the Bloodsong got nerfed, and also Hail of Blades got nerfed. So it kind of hurts a little bit, but definitely still can. Well, actually, no, I'm kind of taking it not into Nautilus Senna. That's going to be a miserable time.
Well, we better hope it's a flex then.
You know it's into TF from that top side, and Camille is incredibly strong at the moment. The fact that you are just so capable of taking over in that top side of the map is just absurd. So I'm looking forward to seeing where the answer is going to be from lLons Hwei, because you're already seeing, hey, we got a strong top side for G2. We can try and play around that. We've got a bot lane that's going to be happy kind of either go for lethality and push out, or go for the more on hit and just scale into a strong mid game. And now with a tank in the jungle for Yike as well, you've already got great setup for G2.
Now the Ivern is going to be taken away. Of course, G2 enjoys of Ivern themselves, but know that it's something that Elyoya can bring out, especially in compositions where you already have multiple AD carries, or kind of pseudo AD carries, I guess, in the form of the Senna and Twisted Fate.
And I think Elyoya has looked better on these more supportive picks. Like, we got to see things like the Rengar and the like more carry-orientated junglers come out for him during the last split, but I definitely think he has looked better when he's able to kind of enable someone like Myrwn or even Supa in that bottom side to be those carries. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Elyoya kind of take a backseat, even though we're seeing a lot more of the carry-orientated junglers come out. It feels like that's kind of the style lLons Hwei have found, or the niche they've found for themselves in the meta.
And remember, when we look back to winter, of course, this was when Mad Lions were kind of at their peak. Their 2v2 bottom lane was really smashing G2. Even in the final, right? They've won the vast majority of those 2v2 exchanges. G2 won the series pretty handedly, but at least in the isolated 2v2, Supa and Alvaro were able to come out on top. Hansa and Mikyx obviously have been playing much, much better across spring and into MSI, and now the Taric coming through.
Wow.
Showing us something a little bit new here. Synergizes super well with the Camille. Obviously makes it very hard, you know, against a team that doesn't have a ton of burst damage for them really to ever find a favorable fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's a decent matchup into the Nautilus, because it's like, as Nautilus hooks in, you E back and you're just like, hey, it doesn't really matter. You got the stun, you got decent heals, and the ult from Nautilus is very telegraphed, but...
What?
What is that? Is it Nautilus?
Is it
Jungle?
Nautilus? Mid?
But I know, it has to be Senna not, right? Senna and
it doesn't matter.
Zyra is
weird. Thank you. We have a new patch. There are 3 new patches. It is time for new ideas. I am here for new ideas.
I prepped the new ideas. Zyra was not on the new idea spreadsheet.
Where's Laure? Somebody check with Laure. We need our resident one trick.
Here.
Okay, Azir's come through.
Well, Zyra jungle was a
wanted
thing.
More magic damage. They've certainly found it in this draft. So we'll see kind of where the final assignments are for champions overall. I really liked the Taric when there was only physical damage on the opposite side. But now I'm not so certain.
So, I want to say a little bit ago that Zyra jungle became a thing.
Yeah, there was that
remember.
point when brand jungle became a thing.
Yeah.
And then we never saw it in pro play, but it was really good in solo queue. And Zyra and Morgana also got a suite of changes that made them a little bit more able to jungle. And it looks like Hwei. Okay, Hwei going in mid, of course. G2, everything makes sense.
Yeah.
Zyra jungle. Okay,
Yeah.
so as a piece of follow-up CC or disengage, Zyra is fantastic. She does so much damage for free with only an item like Leandry's. Her ulti is so good for stopping champions, like the Sejuani and Camille, for really being able to full commit. So lLons Hwei certainly have a ton of tools to keep G2 away.
But the problem is that G2 can just opt now into lethality Varus and Hwei to just outrange you from the keep away composition.
Yeah.
So, and then now you've got, as BB goes to Camille, really strong side lane. So I don't know how this one's going to pan out. It feels like it's kind of been a bit of a mixed bag.
Well, and it's hard to know for sure because this is the first Zyra jungle in a tier 1 league ever.
That doesn't surprise me.
It could be the last Zyra jungle in a tier 1 league ever, and we're just going to have to find out. lLons Hwei and G2, of course, G2. Need to see what form they're in. A lot of people expecting this to be the victory lap after a pretty solid MSI performance into the season finals, a place where they're already guaranteed a spot. MDK, decent in terms of championship points, but want to start this split swinging. Well, they're certainly swinging out some new picks here. Now
I really wasn't ready for
Let's
this.
do it.
Yeah.
Why would you be Elyoya Zyra jungle? If you were anywhere else right now, you won't know that I'm roasting you. But come back and watch the VOD. You're messing up.
Okay. I'm excited to see what this one's going to do. I mean, G2 already looking for a bit of an invade, though. Just trying to see if they can get vision down and spot out where this plant is in the jungle.
I think they're just trying to deny the plants. It's like Shaco boxes, but Elyoya can't really choose early on, at least, where to spawn them until he gets the W. So So I assume that he'll walk into the jungle a little bit late here and try to get a couple plants down just to accelerate the jungle clear. But now, after the level 1 fizzles, it's a little bit quiet. And first strike for Hansama, essentially confirming lethality will be the choice. As Alvaro and Elyoya alongside Supa walking in just to start the jungle path here. You can see a seedling, courtesy of RNG, will spawn right there in the brush.
Yeah, I feel like G2 have adapted well to what they've seen coming through from MDK, because with the Hwei coming in that final position, you get a good matchup in towards the Azir in the mid lane. With Blackfire Torch being as strong as it is as well, Hwei's been really good at abusing that. So I think you're in a position where you just outrange MDK, you get a ton of poke damage, some of that burn damage off Blackfire Torch, and even if it goes slightly awry, you've still got the ultimate from Taric with the engage from BB, which just seems super nice here.
Good stun from Mikyx, a couple extra empowered autos. No sustain yet coming up for the Tar because he has opted to start E. Will, of course, give an armor buff to Hans too, which will make the all-ins that much easier. But yeah, I think when we've seen Hwei be really good, it's paired with long-range engaged champions like a Camille or a Zac. These champions with this huge range of threat, because no matter how far you go, Hwei can always follow up with that empowered Severing Bolt to really lock down and pick off a target. That said, I'm really curious how the Zyra is going to do, because notoriously any AP jungler, if they get ahead in the jungle, just snowballs so incredibly quickly, and that's going to be something that Sejuani's probably going to struggle to keep up with once Elyoya is able to back, get some early itemization.
Yeah, and he does have decent setup in the lanes where, you know, Alvaro can look for a hook, Myrwn can get that point and click CC as well as bottom side.
Done. Backstep.
I do appreciate that Mikyx is attempting to just sabotage a US solo queue. After MSI, it was bring up Poppy, and now it's going to be Taric suddenly shoots up in numbers.
All right. All I'm saying is somebody on one of these teams is sabotaging EU solo queue. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet, because we're going to need to see if it's Elyoya or Mikyx, depending on the results of this game.
How do you say it?
Porque no los dos. Yeah, probably both.
You can tell my Spanish
I'm much
is great.
less scared of Taric popping up as a solo queue pick, because it's Taric. He doesn't have a dash. He's not scary. He's just
I
kind
don't
of
mind it
annoying.
because I'm the support usually, so I'm not going to go towards that. But if my jungler takes this,
oh, flash in, forcing the flash out from Caps. That's a damn good trade for MDK. Nice early play from Elyoya.
That's a level 6 revisit if I've ever seen one. Fresskowy goes in, gets the shuffle. Elyoya is there waiting in the wings. That's going to be really nice. So good job from Elyoya to burn that in the early stages, and now just set up to try and take over.
Oh my gosh. Just the clear speed is disgusting. So he manages to get a gank off, gets an additional camp currently over Yike. Yike, who will grab buffs and will get a small lead here. Alvaro's stunned up, but again, there's not really a good follow-up angle. Supa trying to speed Alvaro out. The flash, the committal, the arrow, ignite ticking, but Alvaro still standing. Mikyx now going to move forward and get the stun, just going to start walking up and auto attacking Supa. Nice backstep by Mikyx. He gets hooked. They don't quite have the damage to finish off the target. He's 70 mana. First blood, baby! Piercing light. Supa hits him with the Q, finishes the job.
And here comes Elyoya. Hans has no flash, and Elyoya's in behind. Hans wants to get the wave crashed
Just
in.
wants to get the wave in. He knows he's dead. Finished his wave off. Kill going to get donated, but who will go to? Supa going to grab it. No, Elyoya taking that one. MDK. First game of the season, looking good so far.
Nicely done on the bottom side. Mikyx just taking that step too far and punished. Now with the TP from Alvaro, they just get control of the wave again.
And what is it about this MDK bottom lane? I feel like G2 plays so incredibly aggressive every time they face down this duo. I have watched them die to Senna Nautilus 6 months ago, Rob, in winter, in our finals, and now it's happening again
beating
here.
Supa is like beating Deft, so they just want to make sure that they're in a really good spot when it comes into, you know, looking at internationals, and then if you can beat Supa, it basically means you're as good as Deft.
Yeah. I appreciate what you're doing. Look, I like the Supa talks trash.
I like it as well.
I
like Supa. I think he's a great addition. I think like he's an AD carry that has a very, very high ceiling, and I love the personalities it's bringing. But that doesn't mean I can't give him a little bit of stick for it.
Yeah, you can bring it up. All right, so Hansama and Mikyx struggling to beat European Deft. As Yike, knowing Elyoya's flashless, should have an easy kill pickup here. Mikyx walking over to try to attach a stun to the back of that Sejuani stun. Does manage to land. Elyoya slowly getting walked down, just trying to finish the camp. Good burst damage coming in from the W2, but he can't quite finish it yet. Extra healing now coming in, but Yike might have just given his life. Tower going back. Guardian proc. One more shot. The minion. One minion. Can't do it. What's the impact?
Mikyx gonna get taken out. G2 a bit over eager. Mad Lions Koi happy to grab a couple extra kills.
MDK making sure it's Zyra that's going to be in your solo queue because Mikyx caught out on that top side. Elyoya does a great job of actually being able to get back out underneath the tower to get at least the damage that he needs back onto Yike. And then Myrwn with the reset, him just TP in and pick up the early kill. BB couldn't help out. He was pushed underneath that topside turret.
And so far, MDK have really just been punishing. They had the one proactive play around mid where Elyoya managed to get caps as summoners out. Otherwise, they've just been punishing G2's over-aggression, both in the bottom lane, now in the jungle as well. The question is, it's MDK who are overextending now. Yike only level 5. Fresskowy on the way in. They know they can just take down Mikyx with the pushback if they so choose. Mikyx getting lower and lower. Zyra ulti used off to the side of the fight. Elyoya now trying to retreat. Broken Blade, though, coming in. Severing Bolt. That's the combo we talked about. Fresskowy now no ultimate. Spiraling Despair. Blinking health bars on the side of G2, and they're going to be forced to back away. Broken Blade getting lower and lower. Myrwn wants to finish it. The triple's done. Oh, he's in a meat grinder. He wasn't ready for 3. Taking on too damn much. Elyoya slowly walking his way out, but this is the Zyra jungle. This is the struggle. The damage is real. The sustain, the durability, the mobility is non-existent. Elyoya, good damage trade. Fresskowy just trying to get the kills back. Supa zooming in. It's a bloodbath around the Herald.
A new challenger approaches, but unfortunately, there's no one left. G2 are able to pick up the fight after a very split call from MDK. Leaves multiple skirmishes rather than a nice front-to-back fight. Now Supa dodges away from the stun from Mikyx. And Caps get rooted, but not going to mean too much for him. You'll see it at the start of this fight, though. You end up with Fresskowy tunneling on towards Mikyx, but it means that then on the opposite side, you've got BB who's able to immediately jump onto Myrwn. The Elyoya's ult hits no one because Yike flashes over it. And Fresskowy's invested so much on towards Mikyx that you actually get G2 re-establishing themselves in the fight and getting good damage off. And Myrwn, this is unfortunate. Mikyx had already started the dazzle as you flash over the wall. BB gets a follow-up CC alongside Yike, and then just able to finish them off so nicely, including Elyoya with so many slows coming in to hurt him.
And this is the struggle, right? The Twisted Fate really just does not do much. Flashes in, fully commits to the play, but the Taric shield is there. A bit of extra healing is all it takes to turn that up against Myrwn. And only 150 gold lead as the TF in this lane against Camille doesn't feel great. You really want a bigger lead than that. Caps grabbing a kill too is going to make Fresskowy's lane that much harder. And this is a Hwei who, if you're not diving on top of him, is going to have easy target access this entire game.
And this is the thing, one of the big adaptations we've seen with Blackfire Torch coming in is that for every champion that you hit, you get the 4% increased ability power, right? But if you just throw down your QE, that nice little red carpet as caps, you can hit 4 people with that, suddenly get a ton of extra ability power. And for the rest of the fight, then you're going to go spot. But actually, he's not going to go for the Blackfire Torch, he's going to go for the Luden's Companion. So we'll still be able to deal a lot of damage from afar with those Severing Bolts. I mean, kind of already talked about that's where the big danger is for MDK. They don't just get to outrange G2 like they were hoping to with this composition.
Definitely don't. Yike, looks like early Warmog's Rush again. Just such a powerful item on the current patch. It's going to feel a bit frustrating when the Leandries comes through for Elyoya, but Sejuani actually receiving a lot of buffs in the off-season, as if, you know, she wasn't showing up pro play enough. We need a little bit more. But the extra passive resistance is coming through. Kind of a shift in terms of how the W works as well.
Russian Warmog's going to help out as well. Just very strong item. Now with the changes coming through, make it that a little bit stronger as BB. Fishing.
Hook shot. Goes in. Gold card. Myrwn waiting as long as he can. But again, Mikyx just walking him down. That's the beefy frontline power. Elyoya's here, though, to try to turn it back. Knocking him up. Plants out of nowhere. Poison Ivy getting to work. Double kill there for MDK. Elyoya with a clean play, a clean turn, a clean punish. G2 again. How many times are we going to say it? Over eager to force these exchanges. Mad Lions Koi more than happy to grab a couple extra kills.
Mikyx wasn't level 6, so didn't have that big safety net for that play for G2, and MDK realized it. Get the TP in from Alvaro to create the numbers advantage, and sure, Hans will be able to get some damage on the bottom side of the map, but Myrwn going to be able to cover the majority of that, and MDK coming out with a nice little lead off the back of that play.
And again, you can see when the front line's here, when they're favored, how annoying their composition is to play against. They just walk at you. The downside, when Zyra's here, no longer is it an option to just walk at them. The knockups, the plants attacking extra quick, the damage that comes out is ludicrous.
Also, just the Azir being in a position to get up here that little bit quicker with Alvaro having that teleport come through was just really nice from MDK. So Caps wasn't able to really get into this fight before it's over. Myrwn very, very happy with that one. And now you're in a position where, again, you've opened up that top lane lead that little bit more with BB falling down. The jungle lead is pretty damn big, but it's G2, at least on the Void Scuttles for the moment, as you start to look towards Dragon instead, coming through for MDK in the bottom side.
Sorry, I'm just blown away that we're still... The TSM chants, like Silver Scrapes, I feel like will never leave us. Esports history. At least we're not cheering for
I can't wait for like 10 years down the line. Where this kid's
people are
like,
like,
TSM,
what is
Daddy?
TSM? Yeah. What are we talking about? And you're like, oh, youngin', let me bring you back to the odd one. Anyway, or just the chant, you know, like what more do you need? Elyoya, 4-2-1. Zyra looking pretty good, especially against the tankier members. When Rylai's comes out, it's going to feel pretty impossible for Mikyx especially to do much of anything in these fights. Hard to get into that front line or back line either. But a Dragon taken out here, still 4 grubs to the side of G2. At a 2K deficit, but to G2's credit, they lost a lot of early games to MDK over the course of the splits, but it's the mid game where they really came alive. Now overloading here as Yike fully commits. Taric ult now going in. Broken Blade, not quite immune to damage, but will be enough as Elyoya's waiting, taking his time, debating if he wants to turn this. Stranglethorn's ready to go, gonna look to lock up Yike, forcing the flash out as Fresskowy just tries to get away from the Spiraling Despair. Caps holding onto the Severing Bolt. Clean sidesteps and a quick ram is okay from Fresskowy as he walks out of that one.
G2 just don't have the damage at the moment, though, to finish off MDK. You can see they can kite back, and even with BB being able to lock down Myrwn, there's just not enough in the tank to follow through, so G2 end up fully dissipating from that situation. And I think MDK going to be happy enough with how much was blown by like G2 on the bottom side. Yike having that flash invested as well.
Yeah, overall. Thomas still has flash, the carry still have flash, but limiting Yike in the fights to come will make things that much easier. Elyoya's flash just around the corner. 55 seconds until the Herald spawns. 4 minutes to the Drake, so Herald we expect to be the next big focal point here as Elyoya continues to clear out his topside jungle. Closer and closer to what I assume is just going to be a Rylai's. That has been the standard build.
Yeah, it's just very, very strong for any sort of like utility mage like this. We got to see it in the brand a lot, but just getting the clear out in the jungle and then setting up with these early plants up towards, as you say, Rift Herald, is just super nice because if G2 try and move into the situation, kind of get slows, you get more burns. It's just a nice little combo that you can have set up.
Yeah, and while I do appreciate the adaptation from Hansama here, opting to go for the lethality build, seeing the amount of disengage, the amount of range present on the side of the MDK lineup, the fact that he's 1.5 items in, if he's not landing these Qs, it's so hard for G2 to do anything. If Broken Blade and Yike are the sole frontliners going in without a Taric ultimate to kick things off, it's really just tough to find an angle to fight, right? Because Zyra disengaged, you've got Azir to push people back. Like, MDK have fantastic... If they're first on the objective, you're not walking in.
It's also the fact that you haven't actually had Supa and Alvaro in the lane against Hansama meant he hasn't got an awful lot of gold off this first strike either. So he's not exactly been blown out of the water with being able to poke Alvaro this whole time. So nicely done by MDK to kind of limit that. And now with Rift Child in tow, they just immediately move in towards this mid lane. G2 going to roam Mikyx up to make sure they can fight the 3v3.
Caps trying to get a bit of damage down. Destiny's going to spot them out, however. MDK, do they want to go for the charge here? No, no one's going to mount up. Meanwhile, Myrwn in trouble. Of course, when the team is there, things are a little bit easier. TP now coming in from G2. Caps on the way to the bottom side. The ulti, the Severing Bolt. Myrwn should have no way out of this one. Sidestep on the grasp is good. Broken Blade, the hook shot, the flash back from Myrwn, but he's just delaying the inevitable. G2, good execution, and now it's Fresskowy who's going to be in trouble. The pushback is good. The stun now interrupts the dash out to safety. Base damages. Will they be enough? Another stun connecting. Mikyx goes back. W2 getting the kill. Fresskowy taken down.
Nicely played by Mikyx, getting those auto attacks to get another heal down just before he flashes away. And with the tower gone on bot side, G2 ahead of the tempo on both 2 kills, tower and the trade for MDK in the top lane. G2 still showing that they've got a bit of fight in them left.
Good picks, good capitalization there. Jumping into the mid lane. And MDK just a bit out of sorts. Elyoya not in the area, still does not have the item that he wants. And Alvaro, and frankly, anybody on the side of MDK cannot afford to be left alone in a side lane against this Camille.
And you've got Caps who's a threat now as well. 1.6k gold lead over Fresskowy in this mid lane. gives him a lot of control if you end up setting up in sides, but even just hitting these earlier item spikes when he gets towards this horizon focus, he's going to be dealing so much damage with these severing bolts. And even with the Camille now pushing in the top side as well, the map just slowly starting to disintegrate for MDK, and it becomes way more difficult for them to set up on an objective first, to utilize Elyoya on this Zyra, to try and play for this kind of front to back, with Myrwn being that main engage tool once he gets the rapid fire cannon finished.
Now, remember, they used a lot to secure this Twisted Fate, this relatively safe blind pick on the top side, but they haven't been able to do much with it other than, again, punish G2 once or twice. 0-3-2, the scoreline for Myrwn. Has been a bit of a difficult game for him thus far, and it's not going to get any easier up against a champion like Camille, who has so many tools to stop your gold card from being effective. MDK doing what they can for now to hold the line. G2 going to give them that respect again. They've kind of had to learn by doing in this game when it comes to playing against the Zyra, I feel like, where they're like, all right, well, I don't think the third time base checking her is going to be any different. I don't think going into the Zyra is the answer. But as long as they can split this MDK lineup up, as long as they can find these picks, which they have fantastic tools to do so, I think the fights get so much easier.
And MDK having that push on side lane now, going to move in towards Dragon area with Myrwn. He's going to maybe look for that play before it starts, but Yike fairly strong here, and the initial front-loaded engage from MDK is going to be denied a lot by Mikyx with this ultimate, so it does become kind of difficult for MDK to look for these plays, and G2 just going to continue to poke here.
Alvaro getting chunked out here, Permafrost hitting as well, some decent follow-up damage with the Spiraling to spare. Severing bolt there too, but again, that's the farming Nautilus, and he has MR. Call of Radiance obviously helping a lot with that burst wave clear from Riptide, but also mitigating the damage the Caps can do.
He has the TP to come back into this fight though, so you got the ultimate coming through from Caps to try and force him back, but it's not really going to amount to very much, and MDK didn't invest anything as part of that, so they come back in towards mid. They say, hey look, we can go for round 2 here, and G2 thought about trying to pressure up towards his top side instead, but with Fresskowy reading this and now clearing out the wave, it becomes hard for G2 to really answer anywhere on the map.
MDK, first setup onto the objective that they care about. Broken Blade knows his objective though, and it's taking down Fresskowy. Good pushback, but Broken Blade still had the ultimate. Emperor's Divide just going to be traded for the Hextech ultimatum, and now Fresskowy needs to get the hell out. Yike continuing to stalk and make sure they can't do anything else here. But Myrwn trading a tower. So at the end of the day, it's 1 tower for 1, and MDK getting the Drake as well. Overall positive trade for the side of Mad Lions.
Yeah, and you got the majority of the wave there as well for Fresskowy, so he's going to be fairly happy with that. So overall, nicely done by MDK to play at the map state, and that's why at this stage you're seeing gold dead even on that top side of your screen. MDK are doing a good job of keeping G2 in check, but you still have to find ways now with rapid fire about to come through from Myrwn to get these engages off, to find these picks, because as long as G2 stay grouped and can look for these poke plays, it's going to be difficult for MDK.
Some reason the G2 are the boogeyman in this league, right? Outside of just the wins, the way that they win so often, less of a focus on the early game this year. Certainly came back a little bit at MSI with some of the more creative options, but it's about that mid game. It's about how they move around the map, an area that MDK have thus far really struggled to keep up with. For now, they're keeping things close. Stacking up the Drakes. Infernal Soul would be disgusting with the Zyra, no doubt, alongside the Azir. But we'll need a bit of time to get there. Much more defensive itemization coming in for Yike. The locket there, Horizon focus for Caps. Going to be harder for Fresskowy or Supa really to survive if they are the chosen target for this Camille.
They're trying really hard to play off of Myrwn just disappearing on the map. He didn't show on bot wave there for a little bit, and you can see MDK grouping on towards mid, which is why we're seeing 4 members of G2 quickly amass on towards this mid tower. But now they kind of missed their window of opportunity because the push is going to come in bot. Great, but you've got BB now that's in a position to threaten this tier 2 and top side, so Elyoya going to start to move up there and try and push BB back off this wave.
Broken Blade. Hookshot, Wall's Eye back. Hextech ultimatum is there if he wants to dodge anything. The slow's already coming in. I hate that champion so much. Like, she's good. I'm glad she's showing up in pro play. I love new picks, but any champion who builds Rylai's and has pets, Heimerdinger, Zyra, Malzahar, get him out of here. Don't want to see him, personally. But thus far, Elyoya has to be careful with the face check, but he doesn't really need to. The other big strength of this pick, right? It's not a Maokai sapling, it's not quite that safe, but pretty easy to just start walking in and contesting vision, despite not being one of the tankier champions in the game.
Yeah, especially when they knew Caps was on bottom side pushing in. They were like, look, let's try and establish the vision on top side. It's a nice trade for the position on the map, but I imagine G2 going to quickly come back out on here, clear out a lot of that top side vision. And they're just basically trying to see if they can use BB now with 2 items complete onto this Camille to be that bit mega threat. We saw a bit at MSI how good this Camille can be when you get to 2 to 3 items. And BB's definitely getting to that position because there's no way this game is going to blow open within the next 10 minutes, which means he should really end up with another one under his belt.
Yeah, Camille is terrifying, right? And obviously she got knocked down a little bit this patch. The base damage on her ulti, when you ult, you get bonus damage on your hits, as well as the movement speed on Q, nerfed a little bit, but still overall a super, super oppressive pick. And it wasn't just Ben, it was Oscar, it was anybody who was getting their hands on this Camille. If you got past the 2-item point, if you approached 3 items, you're unkillable. You'll one-shot everybody no matter how tanky they are. And you can see here, Myrwn, he's hitting him with the yawning Teemo, but I think it's Broken Blade who's like, yeah, whatever. He's going to walk into the wave auto once and get all of that health back.
And MDK need to try and find something to punish elsewhere on the map. So they're bluffing a little bit with Elyoya here to say, hey, we're going to put focus on towards Baron, but they leaned the Azir down to help support Myrwn. Bit of a bait here.
TP coming in too. Might just be the 2v2. The tower now set up. Fresskowy here as well. Broken Blade now realizes he has to back away. The pushback is there, but Myrwn's not quite ready for the follow-up. The hook shot, the wall dive, but Broken Blade will still get taken down, and now it's Caps who's going to be in trouble. Spiraling Despair, the kill finished by Caps. 1 for 1 on the bottom side, and it's a scramble down to the bottom lane. Everybody wants to get involved. Elyoya rooting up Yike. Hansama waiting off to the side. They got the Taric ultimate to keep them safe. Stun landing on Alvaro, but not the best priority target. Caps coming in over the wall. Severing Bolt not going to connect. Supa still healing up. As again, they re-engage, and it's going to be Yike in trouble. Fresskowy from behind, but they know he doesn't have the ultimate. Root not going to connect on the Caps, and now it's Azir who's in trouble. Mikyx might be the sacrifice Taric, but Caps is here to back him up. Mikyx taken down, and now Caps is just next. Again, they leap in, and down they go.
MDK played off of expectations super well there. And you go, hey, we've got a strong bot side for G2. MDK should go for a play on the top half of the map, but instead they subvert expectations, get the pick on boss, and then turn this fight in their favor as well. And then TP from Fresskowy to top side. It's a Baron that MDK want to pick up.
And the 1 for 1 at the start doesn't feel too bad overall, but as the fight just continues to play out, Caps on the wrong side of the map, Mikyx overstepping just a bit. It all falls apart. MDK, control of mid lane, can get first access to the Baron, but they're just not far enough ahead in terms of tempo to start this one blindly. Broken Blade can start to wander down. They see him on vision, of course. Now he's got Myrx, which will make things a bit easier. Some extra tenacity, of course, if you missed it. This is kind of, there are a few items, of course, that you can get tenacity off of. Myrx, one of them. Otherwise, there's no additional tenacity. So gold cards, knockups, knockback, I mean, they're doing work in this patch.
Yeah, I think at this stage, though, it's still going to come down to a lot of execution as to how G2 try and play out and play around BB being this big. You can see them trying to set up on that top half of the map with vision and maybe play off this top wave, but MDK are getting what they want, getting the dragons in their favor. You talked about how good the soul will be for them, and they're getting control over the mid push as well, so G2 going to have to get creative here.
Severing Bolt for a bit of vision. Alvaro forced back. It looks like Caps most likely going towards Death Cap. Will be a glass cannon, but can play at pretty big range, as you see here. He's just so far away, and he's still able to freely poke.
We're just trying to see if he can get the spell shield off the hands with the Q, but not quite able to. And now G2 en masse in this mid lane. This tower won't last very long, and they need Fresskowy here.
Just pull the trigger and try to engage. Nice bit of damage onto Alvaro. Poke really starting to hit onto MDK as they try to clear the way, but Caps just hitting ability after ability. Severing Bolt going wide, Arrow going wide, but Supa on the edge of death here. He looks like he's half HP, but all it takes is one more Q, a Severing Bolt, the right angle, and he will go down.
BB going to push in top side. G2 just going to look to clear this wave as it comes through. They're waiting for the resets on MDK to start, but Supa looking happy enough to just continue to heal up off his own Q. And now, with the push in top, G2 feel a bit more confident to step into River and get the vision control that they need.
Supa off to the side. Alvaro still incredibly tanky. Mortal Reminder picked up by Supa. Doesn't want that additional healing coming through from the Taric, from the Camille in the fights to come. And Alvaro, pretty impossible to get a lane. Doesn't even need the Warmogs. Just hard for G2 to burst through that health bar. But they should be able to break down the tower here. Next wave will be cut as Elyoya can still probably clear that one out from range. But G2 taking control of mid lane, grabbing the easy objective, laying down some vision around the Baron. Get at least a Scryer's out as well.
MDK trying to respond though before BB can get established on the side wave. Want to look for Alvaro, hook goes wide, Elyoya, see if he can grab Hansama.
On to Hansama, forcing the flashback. Okay, they traded for an open Supa. That is a lot of poke from the Varus and the Hwei. Supa, oh, God, so close. MDK now forced to retreat, the dynamic shifting so quickly. If Supa gets more time, he can heal up, but he just has to respect every single cue from Caps or Hansama.
That was so close though. So we will kind of have the standoff finish in the mid lane. It will be G2 come away with the win, getting that mid lane tower and everyone backing away. But still, you can see how close this game is. Both teams know that this game can break either direction if one mistake comes through. And with the Dragon in 2 minutes time, it feels like we're just ramping up for that with a potential third item going to be completed on towards Caps. He's been sitting on this needlessly large rod for a little bit. And also Hansama just finishing off a third item for herself as well. You're kind of hitting a lot of these big breakpoints for G2, whereas you're kind of waiting a little bit longer for MDK for Crypt Bloom to come through and some of these more damage-oriented items to come through on Supa.
Do need a bit more time. Supa, of course, hitting the 100 soul threshold. Again, increments of 20, all that we care about. In case you've never seen a Senna for some reason, but is getting stronger. And we saw in the previous game, right, as weak as Senna looks early, you just cross a certain point and the champion becomes super oppressive. Supa, that said, if he gets hit by anything, will probably die. Got hit by a little something there. This time around, there's no follow-up. Ulti going wide. The turn coming back from MDK. They've burned their TP2. Are they going to be forced to start the Baron? The poke. Again, any piece of CC hits, Caps immediately can follow up.
And G2, yes, you burnt the ultimate from Yike, but that'll be back up in time for Dragon, and no real other summoner spells burned, so MDK investing it, kind of feel like they need to make this pay off now, and Yike, you can't be slowed, and we'll get out.
It's fine, thus far. Hansama, again, still flashless. But Fresskowy burned the TP. Myrwn set off to the sideline, doesn't quite have the Destiny, will have it soon. Broken Blade already has his TP, likely to get there sooner. But the hook shot, the wall dive, probably can't just go for the dive, and that's a Camille! Oh, we've all been there! 2.5 items, Camille is online, but Supa now trying to punish back to kill Mickey. Gets him with the ultimate. MDK need to keep this fight going. They know that Broken Blade can join at any moment. Myrwn down for 40 seconds. Broken Blade gonna focus on the towers, knowing it's the easy objective. A quick 700 gold into his pocket as Fresskowy and MDK try to get control over mid.
Broken Blade's still going though, and as long as G2 don't fall prey to the top side of MDK, they're gonna be able to keep this one going. Broken Blade going for the reset. G2, they want to take the fight. Yike gonna look for the flank.
TP coming into mid lane. 20 seconds on Myrwn, does have the Destiny. Can join. Bit of poke. Hook not going to connect on the Yike. Severing Bolt not going to hit as well. Caps rooted, but there's no follow-up. Elyoya, the body blocks are there. Severing Bolt on Elyoya is a good bit of damage. Immediate ult now coming out. Strangle Thorns. Hansama's going to get knocked up, but again, there's no damage. None of the carries are there. No one to follow. Elyoya's ulti. Fresskowy forced to flash out. Supa trying to go. The pushback, though, not under the ideal target. He hand delivers the Camille into the MDK backline. Supa, the last man standing. A triple for Broken Blade. Hansama, a slow, potentially inevitable march down. Supa flashing out. Myrwn now on the way in. The gold card is there. Caps, the sidestep is clean. Supa and Myrwn versus the world. They're trying to take out Hansama, but Myrwn's in trouble. It happened in mid. It's happening again. Down he goes. An ace for G2.
G2 are battered and bruised, but the Baron is what they came for, and the Baron is what they'll get. Supa tried everything to keep himself out of their clutches, but actually G2, I thought with Mickey's healing they'd feel more comfortable going for Baron, but looks like Dragon just to try and deny that opportunity to Soul. But we see it here. BB, the amount of damage he can do is absolutely insane. Yike gets onto Elyoya, and Caps is able to free fire from the backline. And this is what we talked about. G2 just being able to outrange so much of what MDK wants to do. And BB gets delivered, but the ultimate just ticks back up just in time to guarantee a triple kill for the Camille. And from here, Supa is doing his damnedest, but there's just too many members of G2. Myrwn tries to come in to help him out, but only ends up being lambs for the slaughter in front of G2.
Yeah, they need to feel for Supa. Good staggering abilities from Hans and Caps. They wait for the sidestep. Caps throws down to the skill first. Hansama follows to make sure that Supa gets hit by something. Solid movement, but just not enough.
Broken Blade.
And now Broken Blade coming in, and again, we saw what the Camille could do. A true terror, Broken Blade. 3.5 items, MDK. They can kill so many people on the side of G2, but one of them is not Broken Blade.
I mean, BB has had such a successful year. coming in looking absolutely great in the top side for G2, looking spectacular at MSI and really solidifying his name as one of the strongest top laners at the tournament. And now coming back to Europe, unfortunately MDK get to experience him, but he's very angry after an MSI loss.
And remember that it was the Twisted Fate set up by a Yasuo ban that were supposed to ensure MDK some kind of control in this game, but it has just been slipping away from them. G2, the favorites coming into this one, and it's looking like that's the way that it'll end as well, because Broken Blade does not care about any of their damage. Jarum's Fist now gonna get saved by Mikyx with the Taric ultimate coming down. Push back there. Fresskowy taken out. Myrwn next. It's just a list. They're going through it one at a time. Okay, Myrwn's up. Alvaro's gonna follow. Slow there, that's the stun. Who's next? It's the Nautilus. But G2 will have to hold off on the death note they're building here, instead focusing on this mid lane push out. 3 members down, the entire top side of MDK taken off the map.
It really was close until it wasn't. BB came online with 2.5 items, and now he's gone to 10 and 3. G2 in the base of MDK, and it's just a case of how far do they want to take it.
Alvaro doing what he can to clear the way, but again, walking up it all is so hard. Yike tries to get tricky on the angle to hit Supa, but Supa's damage is just not enough. Broken Blade, on the other hand, does not have that problem. G2 getting their first win in the Summer Split.
That was nasty from Broken Blade. Look at that smile. Supa deleted off the face of the earth. The G2 pick up their first win of spring.
And again, their moments in the early game. Good punishes. Yeah, I mean, we've been here before, a little deja vu. Some good punishes, from MDK early, but that mid to late game, once the Camille had that 2.5 items, just so hard for them to get anything done, despite multiple successful punishes on the side of MDK. So overall, good start to the season for G2. Your Kia player of the game at LEC on X, BB, Yike, or Caps. We'll be talking to Broken Blade in an interview, and I have a sneaking suspicion he might win Kia Player of the Game. For now, though, we're going to send it to a quick break. When we return, we'll talk to Broken Blade. Going back, Guardian Proc, one minion! Can't do it! He dies to Elyoya, he doesn't want to get the assist. Back away, Broken Blade getting lower and lower. Myrwn wants to finish it. The triple's done! Oh, he's in a meat grinder! He wasn't ready for 3! Broken Blade now realizes he has to back away. The pushback is there, but Myrwn's not quite ready for the bomb. The hook shot, the wall dive, but Broken Blade will still get taken down, and now it's Caps who's going to be in trouble. Spiraling despair, the kill finished by Caps. 1 for 1 on the bottom side.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Laure!
Hey, shouldn't you be on stage right now?
Hey, you got a pick. Tom Kent? What? I was not expecting this.
And a crazy off-meta pick that secured you the win. How did you come up with it?
I just listened to my gut.